Welcome to my channel Cine Chills. Let's enjoy the explanation of the movie. Humans who fought at the top of the physical chain would never have thought that one day this world would be controlled by giants. These giants were more than 10 meters tall, and the shortest was 5 or 6 meters tall. Their goal was very clear, which was to eat all the humans in the world. The tiny humans had no room to resist them. Soon more than 90% of the humans were wiped out. In order to resist the giants' attack, the surviving humans united together and built a 50-meter-high giant tower. Under the protection of the high wall, humans have lived safely for hundreds of years. Seems that they have forgotten the existence of giants. Some people even think that giants are just an untrue legend. Until today, people finally remembered that they were once controlled by giants. The three young people who yearned for freedom were full of curiosity about the outside world. They also did not believe that there were giants outside the wall. So they took advantage of the guards not paying attention and quietly came to the bottom of the high wall and prepared to climb up to investigate. However, before they started to climb up, they were caught on the spot by the guards who came. You should know that approaching the city wall is a crime that is strictly prohibited and may be shot. Fortunately, the uncle who led the group knew Alan among the three people, so they were lucky enough to escape. The uncle also told Alan that the field investigation is about to begin. If you really want to go out and have a look, then go and sign up to join the investigation corps. Alan certainly won't miss this opportunity. But just when he was feeling happy about it, the ground suddenly shook violently and the entire wall began to shake. They thought there was an earthquake, but a terrifying roar was heard. Several people looked up suddenly and saw the legendary giant. Is it really there? How big is it? Yes, it is very big and absolutely safe. Several people couldn't believe what they saw in front of them. The guards in the distance were even more panicked. They didn't expect that this giant was much taller than the 50-meter city wall. With a roar of the giant, a big hole was kicked out of the solid city wall in an instant. The huge stones of the flying ship destroyed countless buildings. The guards mounted their cannons and prepared to counterattack, but the giants immediately disappeared into the forest. But the crisis did not end there. A large number of ordinary giants, already starving, rushed into the wall from the cave. The guards quickly opened fire to resist, but these giants were not dead at all. The parts that were hit were quickly pre-checked. Before they could launch the next attack, the giants had already arrived. The desperate guards could only stand there. The giants were waiting for food. As the last line of defense was breached, the residents in the nowhere area also welcomed their acquiescence. The only choice was to run away desperately. But in the eyes of the giants, they were like horses in a hot pot. No matter what, they could not escape the fate of being eaten. Alan and the other two also joined the team to escape. But the giants were everywhere and had surrounded them. Everyone was running for a seemingly safe house. They were so desperate that no one even cared about the crying baby on the ground. Kind-hearted Sonley from Shindy couldn't bear it, so he rushed out of the crowd to rescue Ellen. However, the crowd took Ellen into the house. Seeing that the giant was coming, the people in the house locked the door without hesitation. People outside fled in all directions. Only Sonley, who was holding the baby, was left. There was no time to escape. They squatted there in despair, waiting for death to fall. Alan in the house wanted to save them, but others disagreed. He could only watch everything. Suddenly, a loud noise came. Everyone was so scared that they dared not speak. Alan ignored their obstruction and rushed out of the house resolutely. However, Sonley had already disappeared. Zonging seemed to have been eaten by the giant, but before he could come to his senses, the giant's roar came from behind. Alan turned around and I saw that they were destroying the roof. In just a few seconds, the roof was completely overturned and the people hiding inside were miserable. The safe house instantly became their grave. The originally bustling and prosperous village was now full of ruins and broken walls. Only Alan's lonely back was left. Walking into the ruins, the outermost agricultural area was quickly lost under the crazy attack of the giants. The survivors could only be forced to evacuating to the commercial area in the middle. The large number of refugees and the loss of farmland were undoubtedly a double whammy for them, who were seriously lacking in resources. The shortage of food soon became the most serious problem at the time. In order to regain the lost land, they had to risk going out to repair the destroyed outer rewards, prevent more giants from banishing memories, and then eliminate the giants inside. For this purpose, they spent 2 years specially training a survey corps to carry out this dangerous task. Mission and Alan and Amin, who survived the mission, also gathered. In addition, they also developed a 3-dimensional excitation device that can compete with the giants. This device will emit a steel hand fixed on the giant or building, and in conjunction with the gas sprayed on it, it can completely kill the giant by cutting off the whole piece. Before the departure, the highest commander, Old White, also shouted the loud slogan. Soon, night began to fall. Since the giants have the same schedule as humans, the survey team chose to move at night. But they are very sensitive to sound, so they have to be vigilant at all times. However, not long after the car drove out, a team member noticed something unusual. Everyone got off the car and saw that it was just a squeeze. But just as they were about to get on the car and continue to move forward, a female team member heard the crying of a child. She was stopped by Ellen and decisively found Ellen, who was worried about her. They had no choice but to follow them. But as soon as they entered the ruins of the building, a large amount of transparent liquid was left on the head of the female teammate. Two looked up and saw a giant eagle eating. When the giant eagle saw the two, the food in its hands suddenly stopped looking at each other and wanted to reach out and grab it. They accidentally fell from the top. The angry giant eagle immediately cried and called for his mother. The sound of the dragon sounded instantly. The whole car was in ruins. People outside just realized that something was wrong and saw Alan and the other person running over with the giant. Old Bayen saw that the situation was not good and decisively chose to drive away. People who did not get on the car could only run for their lives. But how could humans escape the pursuit of the giant at a speed of several dozen meters? A giant with a height of several dozen meters quickly stopped the group. Just when everyone thought they were doomed, when they were in doubt, a cool figure suddenly appeared and solved the giant in front of them in an instant. Turned out to be the coach captain, who was waiting for them to meet up. Then another figure appeared and solved another giant that pounced on him. Alan was in a state of concentration. He saw that it was the three he thought were eaten by the giant. He didn't expect that he was still alive. He didn't expect that he had an unusual relationship with the coach captain. After the crisis was resolved, the team also found a safe place to rest and continue to move out. However, they did not expect that the giants soon found this place. The female teammate next to Alan was captured on the spot. Then more giants appeared nearby and surrounded the team. Everyone immediately entered the combat state and put on 3-dimensional mobile devices to attack the giants. However, except for the coaching captain and Sonli, the rest of the people had no actual combat experience. The lucky ones were lucky enough to save a life, while the unlucky ones died more miserably than one another. Some were smashed against the wall and shattered into pieces, while others were eaten directly. Not long after, more than half of the entire team was killed or injured. In the chaos, the team leader Hanji suddenly discovered that someone had quietly driven away with a bag full of explosives. Car was loaded with explosives and the explosives in the car were ignited. If there was no explosives, it would mean that the mission would be declared a failure. Unexpectedly, it was a female team member who drove away. Turned out that just after the violent explosion, only one leg of the giant was blown off. In addition to wasting explosives, there was no effect at all. Seeing the giants start to attack her team again, Alan could no longer control the anger in her heart and decisively rushed towards the giants, dodging again and again. After the giants attacked, Alan finally found a chance to solve one of them. But he was not happy for long before he accidentally fell into the mouth of another giant. Although he avoided the fate of being eaten, he also lost a leg and was thrown to the roof far away. Alan was very worried about Alan's comfort. He didn't expect that he would be accidentally eaten the next second. The giant grabbed it. Sasha was strong and quickly shot out the force reduction in her hand. But for the giant, it was just like real wine. Even the steel knife of the three-dimensional excitation device could not cut into the back of the giant. Seeing that her former friend was about to be eaten, Alan on the roof relied on his tenacious will and stood up with only one leg. He used the three-dimensional excitation device to fly into the giant's mouth and pulled Alan back from the edge of death at the last moment. But he slid down his throat into the giant's stomach, leaving only an arm in front of Alan. In the stomach full of stomach acid was a companion being digested. This moment, Alan had already clearly understood that the giant walked in front of Sonley and wanted to do something to him, but soon he felt something was wrong, as if something was about to come out of his stomach. The next second, a giant hand tore the giant's mouth and the giant's entire body exploded. A giant with a strong sense of oppression suddenly appeared in front of Alan. The 10 groups of giants in Alan's body finally woke up. In the horrified eyes of the crowd, the 10 groups of giants began to attack the ordinary giants. Facing the 10 groups of giants with wisdom and fighting skills, the ordinary giants had no resistance. The few that rushed up were knocked down in an instant. But because it was the first time using the power of the giant, the physically weak Alan also fell down. Everyone realized that this giant was different. Before the body disappeared, they immediately cut open the back and found that the person inside was Alan. Alan's broken arms and legs also grew back. They all looked at this in disbelief. But he didn't know that Hatcher standing on the roof had a profound effect on him. Seemed that everything was in his plan. Our video today ends here. If you like it, please subscribe, follow, and support me. See you in the next movie.